Howdy ho, everybody. I am Donut. I'm here with my fiance. You are cringing every time I do this intro,
Yeah.
but I cannot think of a better intro. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, All Cops Are Bastards, and Trans Rights supporting channel. And if you don't like that, then you can get out. This is, of course, Season 7, Episode 6, Little Crime Stoppers. Now... Before we get into this, we didn't do last episode. We did do last episode. It's not going to get released. It's not a good reaction.
Yeah.
It is definitely the worst episode so far.
Yeah. Like if anyone's tracking the rankings,
Yeah.
that's a solid 1-1.
Oh yeah, that was like I mean, like Chef Goes Nanners and Death Camp Tolerance. Like they had good jokes within them.
Yeah.
Chef Goes Nanners was a really good episode up till the very end.
Right.
And so, that one's like more just like that's a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the more like boring episode, the most boring episode we got to was the Lemmy Winks one, Death Camp of Tolerance. Same episode. But, that episode was the most boring. Even then, it was still a worthwhile reaction. There was some stuff we had to say. There was some jokes here and there that were good. It was the introduction of Mr. Slave. Last one. There's nothing. It's nothing. Even as a kid, I didn't like it, and I thought maybe as a rewatch I would like it more. But no, I liked it way less as a rewatch.
Yeah. For my fresh reaction, it was also a lot of just like oof.
Yeah, I mean, I should say it was Fat Button Pancake Head. It is the one where Cartman has the face on his hand of I don't even remember Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, it's racism from start to finish. There's there's not really any jokes. Like, that's the main thing why I don't want to fill out the reaction. There was no, like, shock. There was nothing even to, like, talk about, like, of a, like, oh, this is why this joke didn't work. Because there just, like, wasn't...
It's very obvious why it doesn't work.
It's very obvious. And it was all A plot. There was no, like, B plot going on today. Our discussion was, like, 2 minutes long. It was, it's just, and also we've been having like a string of mediocre-ish episodes, like not like average to a little bit above or below average, nothing like spectacular. So I don't want to go from that to then another episode. It's like the worst one we've done and everything. We're just gonna skip it. It's whatever. I didn't think I was going to do that, but you know what? It's not a worthwhile reaction.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna enjoy the reaction. So yeah, we're doing Little Crime Stoppers next. We're just gonna move ahead.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, be aware. We are aware of it. For things like, I am aware that Mitch Connor, what the hand actually was, whatever, comes back up in like one of the games or something. I don't even remember seeing it, but I know that. But so we're not gonna like skip any episode. So like we will always be able to catch all the references and everything like that. And so, but yeah. So anyway, Little Crime Stoppers predictions.
So I think it's going to be Cartman sees some guy like actually jacking a car, calls Crime Stoppers, and gets like a $300 payout, and is like, oh my god, this is so good. And then the rest of the episode is all the boys. I think it will be all the boys together being Little Crime Stoppers, trying to like call Crime Stoppers on every little thing.
Okay, that's a good prediction.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to see the full length of this one, check it out on the Patreon for $4 a month. And when you did say actually jacking off a car and Cartman, my mind did immediately go to him jerking off a car. Let's get to the episode.
Cartman is the cummy boy of the four.
He is. He is so obsessed with it. No, I wouldn't say obsessed with it. He just keeps getting involved with it somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, what would you rate this episode?
I mean, it feels like a solid 9 out of 10.
I might give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll get a 9.5 out of 10.
Sure.
It was really, really good, though.
Like, every part was good. It's just, like, it didn't hit that, like, ascendance 10 out of 10 thing for me. Like, there's some episodes where I'm just like, yeah, this feels like a 10 out of 10.
I was laughing and smiling throughout the entire thing very consistently, but it didn't have that 10 out of 10 belly laugh, like, makes me almost fall out of my chair laughing, moment.
Like, if we're talking about South Park casually, I'm probably not going to bring up this episode as, like, one of the really, really good ones. Even though
I would. This is definitely an episode I think about a lot. In terms of, like, Lord of the Rings episode and stuff.
Really?
I love the playing and pretend episodes. And yeah, like, how much, what is, before we get into like the episode itself, did you ever like play pretend and stuff?
Yeah.
Like what kinds? I mean, obviously you would have, but yeah.
A lot of Power Rangers, a lot of Detective, a lot of we're going to play soccer, but we're going to do it like in season 2 of Digimon, where they played soccer and also went to the digital world, but we can't go to the digital world, so we're just going to play soccer.
Okay. I actually never did like a detectives or cops and robbers. I mean, detectives. I'm actually, the only time I'm familiar with it is like this episode. I'm more familiar with the American like cops and robbers game,
right?
Sort of thing. Did you ever play anything like that?
Cops and robbers was never really big in the schools I was in.
Sure.
Detectives was a lot better because you could also just like come up with a concept and then it is a free form while we'll figure out when it solves.
Yeah, like I'm more familiar with that. I said in this, I meant like more in media in general.
Sure.
Like media in general has that like kids playing detective sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm actually very unfamiliar with that. I knew people that played cops and robbers, but yeah, I never played. I played stuff like laundromat or like fast food restaurant or grocery store. All like the really boring, mundane stuff, but it was so fun to play.
Sure.
Like where there would be stuff that isn't really like. I mean, I guess playing more like the Power Rangers type stuff. Like I have this superpower, and this is what my superpowers can do. This is what your superpowers can do.
Yeah.
And this is how our superpowers interact. And because we had to like write it down, and it was like I had a trampoline, and we would be like after the trampoline, you could get points, and you could spend those points on more moves. Because we would run into the problem when we first started playing it of people doing the Fonzie thing of the
wizard armor.
Yeah, I got wizard armor.
My friend groups were definitely less structured in that sense. It was a lot of like, if you had wizard armor in the last thing we played, you can still have the wizard armor, but we're going to figure out when it breaks. It's going to break at some point if you shoot it enough.
Oh yeah, I mean we had like papers that was like it would be
so
like
structured.
Yeah, it would be like here is my. I even remember my superhero name was Lavocano. I do remember that. I had all lava volcano based powers.
Cool.
But yeah, it'd be like your wizard. You have wizard armor. It is written down here in the paper, but of course it only withstands 3 of my lava blasts. It was so specific. But that was also like that sort of thing only works when we were doing it with like 4 or 5 kids,
Right.
If you're trying to do it on a larger scale, it's just not gonna work. Whereas cops and robbers, you can do that with the whole ass neighborhood. Yeah. But yeah, I never was popular enough to do the whole neighborhood games.
I also really liked Detective in particular because I used to read a lot of like Encyclopedia Brown and a lot of like those kids novels.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the concept of kid detectives.
Yeah.
It's always so funny. I showed you Derek Comedy. I showed you that movie at one point. Also, one of my favorite comedy movies. I really love Derek Comedy. You like really didn't like it, but not that you really didn't like it, but you were just like, it's mediocre, boring.
I mean, I'd say I didn't like it.
Okay, well,
it was a big. I and another friend of ours felt very sad afterwards.
Yeah, because I thought it was a very good movie. I liked it. It's a funny movie. It's kid detectives.
Yeah. It always does tickle me in kid detective novels and media and stuff when you do have stuff like this where it is the like Encyclopedia Brown's father is the chief of police and there will be a thing where it's like not a meth lab but they will be like, hey, by the way, someone actually died here and I need the help of my 5-year-old son to figure out what happened here. And Encyclopedia walks in, he's like, oh, hey guys, I'll solve this for 5 cents.
Yeah, I think that's always it's great. Like kid detective stuff where they're just solving actual kid crimes, not that interesting, but the like the kids solving like a big actual crime is the funny part.
Yeah.
Especially when it is thrown in their face like that with the detectives being like, all right, okay, so I need you to go down here and to deal with this meth lab sort of situation.
Like, I really like those, and I really like the more surreal ones as well. Like, Encyclopedia Brown has a lot of, like, hey, in our city, we have a worm-finding competition. But, oh no, Bugs Meany got an entire bag of worms? That's not possible! How did he do it?
Yeah, those are more interesting when it is, like, a more fantastical concept.
Yeah.
Fantastical. But yeah, more absurdist concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those work. Yeah. So talk about the episode itself. I mean, I love, I always love a good Fuck the Cops episode. Always love them. But yeah, we've seen a bit of the like Park County Police detectives and everything. Like they were there during the Crazy Crips episode. They were there during a lot of times where it's like it's Barb Brady and then them.
Right.
But we really just see Barb Brady's the talking one.
Yeah.
Whereas they're just kind of around.
Yeah, and we haven't seen their base before, right?
No, this is the first time we've seen the police department.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like the expanding out of that. We've seen the FBI many times, but they're all faces. They're like characters in the FBI. Whereas like there's definitely loose characters in the police department, which are more definitely some of the most characterized characterized like people.
Okay.
Like like the lieutenant here.
Yeah.
Just like not much of a character that isn't just exactly that trope.
Right.
But I like that. It's like it's just I don't know, the like showing how repetitive cop dramas are. Like they've done this sort of thing for many like medical dramas or like someone dying dramas. I'm not sure what you would call that kind of genre. But yeah, they've always done those, and it's they go a little bit more absurdist with those.
Right.
Whereas this one, like the kids being detective thing is the absurdist thing, but the conversations being had with the police are not absurdist. It is like the funny thing is just how repetitive it is. Like you can do a country song with extremely generic lyrics, and that is funny because it is pointing out how like repetitive it is.
Yeah. It has shades of the Crazy Crips episode in that it is a lot of these kids just kind of like go to a place. They're not really doing very much. They kind of just physically are there, and then everything crashes and burns around them.
Yeah. I really I noticed that as well too. I really like those sort of things, where they just get wrapped up in it, and they're like it goes antithetical to what I normally like in a protagonist, but I actually like because they're kids, they're just getting wrapped up in something and then not having like a we have to do this sort of thing. And then them sort of getting wrapped up. I always do like the we had a couple times where Stan does the no, Kyle, don't you realize we have to do this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You didn't think this until 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Like Stan is very easily wrapped up into thinking that he is like a protagonist sort of mindset.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I think we're slowly getting into more of that. Like the beginning of this episode, he starts off very like the rest of them, and then by the end, he gets that protagonist fever.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. It is protagonist fever. It is this I know what would be correct for a protagonist to think at this moment.
Yeah.
So even if this wasn't why we started playing detectives, we're going to do it now. Or rather, I want to do it now.
Yeah. Like out of all of them, even Eric included, they kind of just want to have fun and just whereas Stan wants things to matter. He is the more mature one, or he wants to pretend that he's more mature.
Yeah.
Everything. As does Eric in very different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that a lot. What else was there going on in this episode? I actually like that it was all like A plot, by the way. No like B plot.
Yeah. You
can kind of consider the Butters thing a slight B plot because we just keep touching back on it, but it's basically all is, and it has such a clear Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that actually. This could have been 3 separate episodes.
Yeah.
It would have been 3 bad episodes if they did that. But they've done that where a portion of this episode they could have just stretched out for a whole episode if they really didn't have much more ideas. So I like that we got 3 very good ideas for them being kid detectives. Like what is funny about that? We got that in 3 different ways. One, just them, like being innocent kid detectives and an actual innocent kid detective thing going on with the dog pie thing, but twisting it out of control because of they say the news, but I think it's more like just cop dramas or like I don't want to say cop dramas. What would you call like NCIS or like those kind of stuff? SVU.
I mean, I guess I would call those like cop dramas or like procedurals.
Procedurals is the thing I was looking for. Yeah, because there's a slight difference between, I'd say, cop dramas and procedural. Like, cop dramas is way more following like two people or so. Like, especially with the Cartman going back to his mom with the, treating him like the wife and shut up. I'm sorry. It's just so stressful. But yeah, with that, and then the second thing with the doll, and you get my point. I'm not gonna continue going on about it, but I like the being able to I don't know what I'm saying. I can't.
You said it. You already said it.
I just already said it. I'm so bad at speaking.
It's okay.
You say something now.
Okay. I do find the concept of there being a locker room in the cop shop very funny. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole, like, them being nude around the grown men is so, like, it's just, like, they don't do anything with it. There's no even, like, they're trying to be sexual about it or they're trying to intimidate it. It is just the, like, it's really weird having the, like, drama scenes where, like, all the guys are just naked in the locker room and they're not acknowledging it in any way.
Yeah, it is 10 times funnier that, the adults and, like, the kids don't really say anything about it as well, so everyone's kind of just like, yeah, this is okay, but it is visually very strange.
Yeah.
Like, I like that so much more than if they had tried to make that more of a thing, like, if Stan was constantly saying, like, this is so weird.
Yeah. I think the only, like, somewhat sexual-ish kind of thing, I mean, that is what it is, but it's more subconscious, was the one guy, like, taking off his towel and, like, pose. Like, that is the old guy in the showers who will just go, like, butt-ass naked and is definitely, like, flaunting. Like, they are trying their hardest to pretend that they are so casual doing it when they know 100% what they are doing.
Also, it seems like we've gone back to we can't see Kenny's face.
Yeah.
Like, just as a general gag.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting that, like, yeah, we've only really seen it in the movie, we haven't seen it in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is weird that he's just, like, not, like, I think it would have been better if you could see his arm or something on his side there, because we see his hair.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is that they don't want to show his face, but that was a little bit weird, but yeah, it is, I think they could have been clearer with that, with what they were doing, I mean. But, yeah.
I mean, we could also be setting up a big ol' he's still a pot roast. Like, if you look at the face, it is a pot roast.
A pot roast with eyes and skin.
Yeah. Like, just the part you can see when he's wearing his hood up is human looking, and then everything else is pot roast, and then you got the big hair.
By the way, we were talking over it, but did you hear them say that the meth lab was the McCormick's?
No, yeah.
It was the McCormick meth lab.
Not directly related, but related.
Sure.
And yeah, it's been a while since I can't remember their names. It's like Bill, Fonzie, and Alan something, or I don't know what their names are. But the two, that's gay, those kids. I
forgot that was their gag. It's been so long since we've seen them.
Like, where they've probably talked maybe once since, like, season 2. But yeah, they had a lot of talk girls in season 1 and 2. They were originally the kids who were hanging out with Mephisto's grandson.
Right.
Which we just haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to see that like they're sticking around, even if we've taken sort of Mephisto and his grandson out of the show.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, how do you feel about that? Like, Mephisto is just kind of not in the show anymore.
I think it's fine. Like, he was definitely around because they were doing a lot of, like, mad science episodes.
Yeah.
And in general, they've kind of just, like, moved away from that. Or if there is something really weird and wacky, it is like a new character or aliens or like. They're branching out from the everything has to tie back to an established character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually like it. And he's still around canonically, so, like, if they have a really good idea for a Mephisto episode, they can do it.
Yeah.
I would much rather prefer that, like, especially in a series with a big cast. I prefer that to, like, bringing back a character out of obligation.
Same. I liked Mephisto a lot, though. I feel like he had a lot to offer that they didn't go into too much. Like you say, he has the mad scientist thing, but I feel like he had other stuff that he was, like, they were fleshing him out more as a like, just person rather than like a very sticky kind of person.
Yeah.
And they just kind of stopped. And I don't know, I've always been, like, I wonder, if they would have, continuously done stuff with him throughout it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I do hope he comes back. I mean, same with, like, Chef, for instance. Like, Chef's role has been very, very downsized, but he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. It's not like Mephisto, who I don't think he has appeared since the Nambla episode. I think that was the last time he appeared.
It may have been, yeah.
Or the last time he had a speaking role. Like, he's been in the background.
Right.
But, with a show like South Park, doesn't really count.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Like, live action shows definitely count way more where that person is in the background there.
Yeah.
But, animated shows, unless they're speaking, it doesn't count as much.
Plus, because it's South Park, like, is it even canonical that he's in the background of some of those shots, or is that we used his design, but he's not really supposed to be there? Like, was Butters in class, or was he in Cartman's bathroom for 2 days straight?
Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me a lot with South Park, is the stuff like those shots. We see Butters in the classroom, and then Butters says he's been jerking off for 2 days, and it's like, well, one of these has to be true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just South Park at this point. It's just we are too lazy to keep track of where the characters are, even in the episode itself. It's very Rocky, very JoJo's like,
Yeah.
in which they just will constantly make mistakes in the same episode itself. Cartman's basement, by the way, is such a good setting.
Oh yeah.
We've been down there quite a few times. Also, just filled up the entire hole in the basement, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really like you know, it as a setting for especially playtime sort of thing. It is exactly the kind of place I played. You know, the stairs leading down into this big basement that has a hard concrete floor and everything, and it's all the kid space. It's nothing but kid stuff down there. Yeah, I mean that is exactly where I used to play.
Yeah, it's got a good vibe to it.
Yeah.
It also does, like, I do consistently have to wonder every few episodes, like, why are they still hanging out with Cartman? Like, I know the adults have said it, you are obligated to hang out with Cartman, he's your friend. But, like, stuff like this also makes it clear, like, yeah, the other kids don't really have a big play space. They have their rooms, and they have, like, other parts of their house we've seen, but Cartman's the only one to have, like, the big old basement where they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I would say, you know, obviously there's just like from a writing perspective they have to, but aside from that, it does seem to be the Cartman has space and things and a parent and a house that is the most stuffable at. And, you know, he is if they need something done, Cartman's gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if there's I don't know how to be mean to this person on the phone, Cartman's gonna be able to he's gonna do that just fine.
Oh, yeah.
If you need somebody to interrogate Butters, Cartman's gonna interrogate Butters. Stan and Kyle will probably not be able to actually interrogate Butters. They would feel too bad about it. But they don't feel bad about letting Cartman do it.
It's very easy to write all sorts of deal with the devil plots with Cartman.
Yeah.
Because he has shown himself to be very capable. Like, it is a real, I'm fairly sure Cartman can do whatever the plot of the episode is, but we do have to deal with Cartman.
And it is a very, like, I think it would be much different if Cartman was somebody they were scared of or something. Like, even for somebody who has, you know, fed somebody their parents, they're not scared of him.
Yeah.
They know, and I mean, it's the end of so many episodes. They know if it gets bad enough, they can just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
As they do many times. Like, and I think that's what adds a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, to making him not or just to making him a person that they would continue to go and hang out with. And yeah, but as much as he is the butt of the joke, it is, you know, it's fine if we're friends with him because it's not like we're adding to his ego. There is 3 people around him constantly telling him that he is a shitty person.
Right.
So it really, like, you know, in their mind, I can see why they think it is keeping a balance.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all I had to say about this episode. Oh, the like, also doing the kid FBI and then bringing the FBI in at the end. And with but it's not fair. So is. So good. Cops are just absolutely grown men playing pretend. It's just grown men playing slave catcher.
Do you think they remastered the like what if scenes, like when the kids were explaining like what they thought happened in this criminal case? Like, do you think they remastered the footage, or is that footage the exact same?
I mean, I think we're past the remasters.
I feel like
I'm not sure though.
Remastered
Maybe,
stuff.
yeah. I'm not sure when we're past the remasters.
Because like,
but you're right.
Because like, just normal widescreen stuff was not a thing in most American footage until like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
It's like all of this was almost certainly 4:3. Like, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we have to still be in the remastered era.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we would have to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. My guess is no.
Because I'm always fascinated. It happens so very rarely in the series, but I do like looking at the occasional moment where it's like super grainy and super blocky. It's like, did they do this intentionally? Did they remaster the footage and then put a filter over it, or is this just the way it was?
I feel like they did remaster and put a filter over it, but they're so lazy. I don't know. They might not have.
Fair.
Let me check my notes for the episode.
Okay.
I always say my notes like they're my notes. They're not my notes. I'm just looking up notes for the episode.
Gotta hide it, otherwise the fans will lose all faith in us.
I don't know if this is worthwhile trivia, but Butters is the first of the boys to ejaculate.
Is he? I guess he is.
This is such a weird trivia, but sure, okay. Also, they said that in the commentary for this episode that Butters probably lied about ejaculating this episode due to his age.
Ah.
So, I will take it as canon that Butters did not ejaculate in this episode.
There's no way that's correct, though, because he had a cup. They could have checked.
I mean, they didn't check it. He could have just peed in it. And
They could have.
It's been over 2 days and it became white.
Oh, no.
I don't know how that would work, but... Oh, maybe he just ripped all the peas.
Oh, no.
So this episode actually was originally supposed to start out with them. It just started out with them in the police station getting badges, and then
Okay.
like, you know, all the beginning 2 acts of this were not in there originally.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, we actually have a lot. That actually explains why I said, like,
Yeah.
this feels like, you know, normally they would have took like just a part of this episode and made it a whole episode. But yeah, so
You nailed it.
I started there, got to the end of the episode, and we're like, oh, we have still 2/3 of the episode left. Let's do a backstory of how they got the badges. And then, it's a really interesting way to go about it. I honestly would not have noticed.
I don't know. It seems like you noticed.
I mean, like, I felt it, but I didn't notice that, like, you know, they made it all flow, like, the backstory flowing into it worked very well.
It did.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely did feel very separate, but it didn't feel like it was tacked on or anything like that.
Right.
Like, I just felt like, I guess they were just like, oh, let's do this, and then this, and then this. All right, that is it for this episode. I wasn't gonna mention it, but you know what? I do gotta mention it. I just made myself. The calendar in Lieutenant Dawson's office only has 24 days on it. I don't know why that's so funny to me. It's such like an easily It's so like, how do you mess that up? How do you mess that up?
Have they not drawn a calendar before?
How? Oh, I read it and I was just like, all right, that's not worth mentioning. I'm gonna skip over. And then I started laughing as I was about to move on. It's so stupid. All right, next episode is Red Man's Greed.
Oh,
We'll
no.
see you guys for that
no.
one. Until then, get the fuck out of here.